Hey, peace, World Wood here. Let's jump right into it. I was trying to do something fancy, and I don't think that was gonna work. So we just gonna keep it straightforward. Big news today in the nation's capital for the football team, the Washington Commanders. A new owner, new ownership group, Josh Harris. They have made the announcement that the first coach under Harris will be none other than Dan Quinn, previously the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. And, the reception has been a bit mixed by the Commanders faithful. Hey, we tried to go with the new kid, everybody's current whiz kid, Ben Johnson. I mean, when a man contacts you, when the private jet is on the way to see the guy, and he contacts you and tells you that he has no interest in taking a job, I could imagine what the fan base would be had they announced Aaron Glenn, who I was a little shocked to see uh got an interview, or was strong consideration, but maybe it was just a Rooney Rule thing. I don't know. Hey, I'm not too upset with Dan. I've been on several of the Commanders, several accounts that report and do commentary and posts for the Washington Commanders, and I see a large, a significant number of fans who aren't in favor of it and feel like it's underwhelming, disappointing. It is what it is. He's our guy. I don't, and I'm. You got to get out of this debate show culture stuff, man, and letting a handful of individuals, just because they talk about it, and it's the lowest hanging fruit possible. They don't even put a lot of thought into the commentary and the analysis for trash teams like the Washington Commanders. I'm a fan. That's my squad since 8 years old, probably. I'm a fan. But they don't waste time. They don't invest a lot of time thinking it through. They grab at the big headlines, and that's it. 28-3, he was the head coach. And now, a couple of weeks ago, he was the defensive coordinator. Everybody was going for Mike McCarthy's neck and his throat. Well, neck and throat, same thing. My bad. Everybody was on Mike McCarthy's head a couple weeks ago. Now today it's like, oh no, it was actually Dan Quinn. I'm not upset for the people out there calling for Eric Bieniemy to have just gotten a job. I'm sorry, man. There's the stigma there that you were there when 4-13 happened, and your area of the ship wasn't great. Out of everything that was going bad, you weren't the silver lining. And to think that he was going to, I guess there's a chance that he could stick around. They have announced a second announcement. I believe the dude's name is Joe Witt, the former the former passing game defensive coordinator. That doesn't sound right, but he's gonna be the defensive coordinator under Dan Campbell. I'm not mad at that. Joe Witt Jr., I think is his name. I'm not mad at that. It's late in the game. Johnson and McDonald were coaching into the championship Sunday. They were the most coveted guys. McDonald went to Seattle, and Ben Johnson stayed home in Detroit. Went back to Detroit. With this debate show culture stuff, you don't understand. I mean, this prisoner of the moment, this recency bias, the debate show junk, talking heads yelling at each other and whatnot. You don't understand. How long have you been watching these games? How long have you been watching the sport? And I know a bunch of these guys on the Commanders Instagram pages. I know they've been watching this as long as me or longer. Bill Belichick was fired. I can't remember if Dick Vermeil walked away in Philadelphia, right? Or if he got fired. Mike Ditka, fired. Mike Shanahan, I believe he was fired. Some of these might have been amicable splits, maybe. I mean, Belichick was basically fired in New England. Mike McCarthy, 3 years in a row, 12 and 4, 12 and 5 records. He was fired in Green Bay. Trying to think of some other names. I mean, Andy Reid, fired in Philadelphia. Like, we love you, but this thing has kind of ran its course. What did he have? 4 NFC championship games? Maybe 3 of them were home? Or was it 5? And 4 of them were home. 1 Super Bowl appearance. Now, he's the greatest coach. And because he's a little more charismatic, he actually has commercials and whatnot, has some charisma. He's regarded as the best coach in the history of the game. Especially the way that it's ended of late for, the way that it's gone of late for Bill Belichick. He was fired. Didn't he try to run the ball on the goal line or something in one of those in Philadelphia and lost? Maybe to the Buccaneers or somebody? Now today, we have these strong stances that these guys just don't deserve a second shot because they messed up you messed up the first time? I mean, Schottenheimer, Reeves, these guys were fired. I'm trying to think of a couple other names, but yeah, let's be honest. Most of the coaches that are being hired are being hired to be fired in most situations. So what I was trying to do is bring up Dan Quinn's record. We know that he won a bowl as the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks with the Legion of Boom, physical bunch, playmaking bunch, takeaways, big hits, hence the Legion of Boom. Success there. Goes over to Atlanta, and in year 2, I believe Atlanta had like 5 losing seasons or something before he got there. Goes, and he's basically a 500 coach right now, like 42 and 43 or something, a 43 and 42 career, 43 and 42 wins and losses, 0.506 win-loss percentage. Goes 500 in his first year, 11 and 5 in the second year, NFC Championship. 10 and 6 the next year, and then 2 years of 7 and 9 before being fired after starting out 0 and 5. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm guessing in 2018, maybe even 2017, Kyle Shanahan probably left. I see in the comments on the videos on the clips the post on Instagram, the only reason that they made it to the Super Bowl was because of Kyle Shanahan. His defense sucked in Atlanta. I don't remember. I honestly, I don't remember. Some people want to tell me that Green Bay limped into the playoffs. They had one of the hottest quarterbacks of the last 7 or 8 games of the season. The team may have limped, but the quarterback was balling. And the next week, they had the 49ers on the ropes. And had a chance to win that game except for the comeback led by Brock Purdy. I don't have what we saw out of the Dallas defense, inexplicable. I can't say anything about that. Maybe he was a little distracted because he was interviewing for jobs. Maybe he already had his heart set on his next situation. It's very unfair to the best teams in the league to have their coordinators sneaking away to do Zoom calls or whatever they're doing to line up their next job. I guess my key points are he did more winning in Atlanta than what we've seen in DC with the last couple of guys. An 11-5 season and a 10-6 season, I take it. Top 5, top 10 defenses, immediate turnaround in Dallas once he got there. Over the last 3 years, the most takeaways in the league. You haven't seen the Commanders take the ball away for nothing in the last 4 years or more. No takeaways. So if he's got to be coaching that, right? That's got to be part of the coaching philosophy and the techniques. Get the ball out, turn the ball over, take the ball away. That's got to be something that's being ingrained in the defensive players, right? I take that. Do we have a Michael Parsons on the team right now, or Lawrence, or Diggs? No, we don't have none of those guys right now. Hopefully we can salvage something from Emmanuel Forbes. Last year, number 13 pick. Hopefully. But I just got to be optimistic. I would imagine the next time that he gets into a big playoff, a big game, he'll draw from the experience of what happened in the Super Bowl. Again, what happened in the divisional round against Green Bay, I don't have anything for that. Except it's Dallas. It's his defensive unit that I was critical of, then more so than McCarthy and Dak. But this is our guy now. 93 takeaways in the last 3 years, finishing in the top 5 or 7 of defensive scoring. And then, we'll see what we do with this number 2 pick. It looks like it's going to be Drake May. And the comp for him is Justin Herbert. I didn't know he was that tall. Maybe he's only 6'4". I didn't think he was 6'5", but maybe he's 6'4", 6'5". I didn't see the Tar Heels a whole lot. I'm not the biggest Drake May fan. I don't know if I'm really a bigger, I'm leaning more towards the Heisman guy, Daniels from LSU. I don't know. Get the guy quarterback. I saw on one of these sites, Chip Kelly being discussed as possible offensive coordinator. I'm not mad at that. Again, we're done with Chip Kelly because he came up here and he flopped. I didn't really mind Chip Kelly's his culture and all his little weirdo stuff that he had and trying to be innovative. All us fans act like we do this stuff. Like you live, eat, sleep, and live. Like you make your living staying abreast of everything that's happening with all these different candidates and who's making noise, who's terrible, who's working back channels and doing the deep dives on these guys, and who has a board at all times of who you keeping an eye on and whatnot. What's the real reason behind this? What are some other factors that may have contributed to this? Whatever. Dan Quinn's the guy. Came and had an immediate impact on the defensive unit in Dallas. Good. Led the league in takeaways over the last 3 years, 93 of them. Good. We don't even know what Ben Johnson and McDonald, we don't even know what his we didn't have any idea of how he was going to respond to running the whole show. I was nervous as hell, to be honest with you. Handing the keys over to him. 37-year-old guy. Dan Quinn is 53. I feel like you know what he could do. You know that he won. And he doesn't want to squander a second opportunity. Damn, we can't even give a guy a second chance with the thought that he learned anything from the first time around. Oh, and then I saw earlier a guy reminded me all of the talent that was on the 2013 coaching staff for the Washington then Redskins, and how that make you feel about Gruden. I'm like, what does this have to do with Dan Quinn? But I'll tell you what. Since you bring that up, that means that it's a lot of talent in the league, throughout the league right now as he's assembling his staff. There are a lot of talented individuals who weren't promoted or aren't being promoted right now because there's a capable guy in front of him. There's a little bit of backlog, or it's a little log jam of whatever. So nobody was able to move, and you're able to go out here and get the next group of guys and get the next staff of future head coaches and groom those guys. My other thing is this. We don't have the trash team culture that was in place in 2013 when we couldn't retain any of those guys. From 2013 to this year, we weren't able to retain any of those guys or promote any of those guys. None of them were willing to stay and take the job because they were like, man, I'm getting the fuck out of here. It's horrible here. It's trash here. They knew Snyder was sticking his nose in things and demanding that, trading picks away and drafting Dwayne Haskins when nobody else wanted him. And making all types of different. He forced Wentz. Reportedly forced Wentz on Revere. Was behind getting rid of everybody to be able to get RG3, which, in the short term, it worked. The guy said yes. Not many other people were standing around qualified. Shockingly, Ben Johnson, Slowick, I thought it was one other guy. These guys did something new and said, nah, I like where I'm at. I like the culture here. I like the quarterback that I have. I like the pieces, the skill guys that I have. The defense on the guys on the other side of the ball. Like, I'm on something that's trending upwards right now. And I'm patient enough to go through the process and see it through. I like that. We're going to take Dan Quinn and run with it. We're going to make it work. Hey, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I'm up out of here. Eight and 9 next year, 9 and 8. 9 and 8. Let's go with 9 and 8 next year.